Hey, what's up, y'all? I know a lot of y'all are asking me about wintertime and wintertime patterns and when do I need to start focusing on wintertime patterns. We're getting pretty close. I still am catching fish, redfish, and drum and targeting them really shallow. The wintertime patterns is going to mean that early in the morning, you're not going to find any fish in shallow because it's too cold. Some of the warmer days in the wintertime, such as the coldest months, January and February, they will go in shallow mud areas. The mud bottom with the shallow water will warm up quicker on the sunnier, a little bit warmer wintertime afternoon days. So in order to get a better idea of when all this takes place, I basically follow the water temperatures, and a good place to start to figure out what the water temperature is if you're not able to be on the water with a fish finder that can read the water temp is to go onto Google. You can just search for what is the water temperature in Port Aransas or Corpus Christi or wherever you fish at. So once you Google search for water temperature in Port Aransas, I use the seatemperature.org, this website, and it'll tell you Port Aransas average December sea temperature is 66 degrees. So when we get about 65 and less, we're starting to get pretty cold. Those fish don't really like to be in shallow water when it's that cold, except, like I said, on the warmer afternoons. So below 65, low 60s, that's wintertime patterns. You can also click over here and let's go to January and see what the average monthly temperature is in January, the water temperature. It is the water temperature that we need to be concerned about. I know we've had some cool fronts. It's dropped down to 50 degrees, maybe 48 once or twice. But the water temperature was still high 60s, which is fall pattern still. The fish don't care what the air temperature is. It's the water temperature because they live in the water. So let's go to January and see what their average temperature is. 62 degrees. We are below 65. We're getting to the low 60s, and sometimes it has gotten 59 degrees, the water temperature in January. So that January is, in fact, a wintertime pattern month. And then February, you click on February, and it's a little bit colder, 61 for the average and 58.7 for the lowest that they have on record, I guess. And then let's go ahead and go to March. Once we get into March, we're getting starting to get into spring patterns again. Almost. We got 64.9. So March is still going to be a pretty much wintertime pattern for this area. And then you go to April, and now we will be into springtime patterns, back up to 72 degrees, which is fall patterns or spring, same thing. So wherever you caught them at in the fall, next year in April, you're going to catch them in those areas. You can start fishing those areas again in April. So January, February, and March, I am going to go to my wintertime patterns, and we'll talk about that. I'll show you some things, some areas that they're going to be in. I did catch a couple of reds on a AM lure. Yeah. Yeah, I seen his little wake. He made a little bitty movement. That was just enough. Damn, that's a good red too. Oh, man. So yeah, I only caught a couple of reds over the weekend with lures, but we caught a few keepers with some shrimp. So, but I'm still locating them in shallow early in the morning, so we're still in fall patterns. But we're coming up pretty close, you know, to January. Today is December 7th, so just depends on how many pretty hard cold fronts we get. We keep, you know, it's Texas, South Texas. We're getting some cold fronts, and it's cold for a day or two, and then it's back to 75. It's supposed to be like 80 something degrees a little later this week. So the water temperature doesn't have time to drop to wintertime patterns because we keep going back and forth. So it's just like, you know, in your house, you got the air conditioner on one moment and the heater on another moment. So, you know, that's just South Texas for you. So the next thing we need to cover is, where are these wintertime spots, you know, fishing spots, and what are they going to be? Where are they going to be holding in? What kind of scenario? For me, the last few winters, it's been the deeper channels, the deeper guts, and definitely the areas with mud. We want a mud bottom. It just holds in a little bit of heat, and they'll sit down right on the bottom. So we're looking for deeper channels and deeper areas that preferably are close to where you've been catching them at. If you got some spots that are really good, you're catching a lot of fish all summer and fall, and now all of a sudden you're not catching any fish, but you have some deeper drop-offs real close, those drop-offs are what you want to be fishing. I prefer it to be mud and shell. The shell could be oysters, it could be the mixed shell that is sometimes in these muddy areas. Not necessarily a thick oyster patch, but some scattered oysters and shell. So what that looks like on Google Earth, we'll just pick, you know, Aransas Pass, and we'll look for something that just really shines out to me for wintertime. It's going to be the sailboat channel. And the sailboat channel, you can tell it's a deeper channel because of the blue water. Your flats over here, this is all grass flats that are shallow. The color difference, you can see the grass in here. So your deeper, your blue stuff, and even, you know, even the channel through here and on the other side, over here close to Lighthouse Lakes, if you've been catching them in these guts, especially on an outgoing tide, and you've been catching them right here, they will now be right on this edge, on this drop off. You got the brownish looking color, and then it turns blue. That's your drop off right there. Lighthouse Lakes has several of these guts right next to the channel. This blue water is deeper, so you want to target this area in here in the wintertime. In the summer, you know, you probably were catching them in here, and you can definitely catch fish in these wintertime spots year round, but we're going to talk about where we're not catching them. We need to really target these wintertime spots. So all your deeper guts, here's one, the blue, see the blue versus the grass flat in here. Same thing right here. This is a gut, and then your grass flat. And they're just everywhere. You can go all over Google Earth and find these things. Here's one right here. These are kind of shallow. I wouldn't target those. If you had a boat or really wanted to make a good kayak trip, then you got some good ones out here right next to the Lydian Channel. So these areas are going to be good in the winter. And then there's another one up here. So just a few scenarios. I know I kind of got off course on the sailboat channel, which is right here. The sailboat channel, if you turn into here, you got Plenty of oysters in here. This is muddy oyster area with a deeper channel. This channel is about 4 feet deep in here, but in the wintertime it'll probably be about 3 feet. That's another thing that happens in the wintertime. We're either going to have cold water temperatures come first, or we're going to have low tides. We have wintertime low tides because of the consistent north winds. When those north winds are consistently blowing, it blows the water out of all the shallow stuff. So obviously you can't get in there anyways with a kayak or a boat, and so the fish won't be in there either. Mostly because we're forced to, because we can't get into them, but also the fish are the same way. They can't really get in there. The water's too cold most of the time, so they're going to go to these deeper drop-offs. And it can be any channel you want. You can pick any channel. You got the channel in Aransas Pass over here with all of these flats drains in here and here. I will be fishing a little more Aransas Pass because of wintertime patterns. Here's some scenarios over here. This is the barge channel. You got some deeper guts that run through here. I would target these areas. Probably I would target more this side to try to stay out of the way of the main channel since I'm a kayak fisherman. But you also have deeper guts that are just right out in the middle that probably they dredged at some point in time for some reason, and these can hold them as well. Here's another scenario, a deeper gut. You see the watercolor difference. So you can get on Google Earth and just find all kinds of stuff. I mean, they're just everywhere. You're looking for that blue color. This blue color surrounded by all of this color in here is grass flats. And so you got these deeper channels, and all of these scenarios are what we're going to be looking for wintertime. So once again, I'm not saying that these deeper guts don't hold fish in the summer. They do, but they are more important for wintertime. So I hope some of these tips were helpful. If y'all enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. You'll see me catching some fish. I will be out there this winter. I am a kayak guide, and all my customers are like, man, are you going to fish in the winter? Yeah, I'll be out there. So tight lines, everyone. Thanks for watching.